Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I am so excited to share this adorable winter card with you. If you've been looking for an easy to follow card tutorial that uses high quality supplies, I got you covered. Let's get started on making this card. This card is surprisingly simple to make. That background really takes hardly any work at all. To make this card, you're just going to need a few supplies. These are the ones I'm using, so don't worry if you don't have all of these exact supplies. I'm using the Snowy Wonder stamp set, which is a beautiful photopolymer stamp set with 20 stamps in it. We're using 4 of them today. I already have them laid out on my clear blocks. You're going to need cardstock. I have Night of Navy, boho blue, and basic white. You're also going to need some masking paper or a post-it note. This is Stampin' Up! Masking paper. I've cut it to 1 inch, and we're going to use that. You'll see how in just a minute. Also, I have 3 different inks: Azure Afternoon, boho blue, Night of Navy, and a sponge dauber. You could also use a blending brush. These sponge daubers come in a pack of 5. They're really inexpensive. I love them. So first, let's do our background. I'm going to take the basic white, and I'm going to move this aside just so I don't get any ink on it. And I'm going to take my masking paper, and this peels off just like a sticker. And you can use a post-it note if you don't have the masking paper. But I'm just going to set this just like that. And I want it even, and that is not even. That is not a straight line. So I'm going to peel it back up. And just be careful. You don't want to like rip this off. You might tear your paper. Set that back down. I like to line it up with the grid paper just to try to get a straight line. That's pretty good. I'm going to open up all 3 ink pads. And I'm going to start with my darker color, which is Night of Navy down here at the bottom. I'm just going to dab my sponge dauber into the Night of Navy. I'm going to start on my grid paper. And I'm just going to go in a circular motion and just kind of blend all this in. And I'm starting with the darker color because I want it to be like almost like a nighttime sky. Come in over on this side. Then we're going to go in with the boho blue. Again, starting on my grid paper. And then going as far as I can while still getting some ink. A little Azure Afternoon. And it's okay to dab in all of these. It really doesn't mix, I found. That Azure Afternoon really is a nice bright blue. You don't want to go down too far. We're going to be taking our masking tape off and covering the bottom part. So don't go down too far. This is just going to give us that nice crisp line like we had on our sample card. Back in with that boho blue. So now that I have the colors how I want it, I'm going to lift up this masking paper, peel very carefully, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did to begin with. I'm going to line up with my grid paper and put that at the bottom. And we're going to do the same step. So go in with the Night of Navy first. And just kind of blend that in and out. One on this side. And with the boho. And be careful not to go up too far because you don't want to get into that line you've created. So I like the sponge daubers for this just because they're smaller. A blending brush would work just fine too, except they're a little bit bigger. If you have our standard blending brush, it might be too big, and you might need 2 pieces of the masking paper, but you could use a small blending brush. Stampin' Up! Has 2 sizes. I like the sponge dauber. I just feel like I have a little bit more control over where the ink goes. I'm trying to get some more of that azure afternoon in there because it's nice. It's such a nice bright blue, but it almost is like a nighttime sky, twilight or something. And then just finish it up with that boho blue. And you don't want to make it too dark because we are going to be stamping onto this. I just want some of that nice color in there. I want it to blend really seamlessly. That looks good to me. So let's remove our masking paper now. And before we put our inks away, this you can just toss in the trash. Before we put our inks away, let's do a little bit of our stamping. So I have the tree from that Snowy Wonder stamp set. We're going to ink that up in Night of Navy. I'm going to do one, do a couple. I like to do one kind of off the cardstock a little. Maybe one overlapping that tree a bit, kind of like a forest. And one more. And then we'll go in with the boho blue and just do some dots like it's snowing. Because our sentiment is going to say, let it snow. And then we'll go in again in the boho blue. You could use the azure afternoon too if you wanted. And just do a couple of snowflakes. I like doing some right on where we blended all that ink. I just think it looks really cool. Couple going off the cardstock a bit. And then we can get our sentiment and ink that up in Night of Navy. Just like that. I want to add a couple extra snowflakes just around our sentiment there. And that's it for stamping. I'm going to put my ink pads away, or just at least close them because I like to stick my hand in them. And now we could use our embellishment. So I have a couple of embellishments. I'm using the iridescent 1/2 inch striped trim and the opal rounds assortment. You can use whatever you have on hand. I just really like this. It's reminded me of snow. So what I like to do is I just like to eyeball it. No, that's about enough. And grab my scissors. And then my Stampin' Seal, which is my favorite adhesive. You can use whatever adhesive you prefer. I like Stampin' Seal. It's quick, it's easy, not a lot of fuss. And then I just take the piece I just cut. Let's see, I kind of want it there. So take it, oops, stick it down to that seal and wrap it around. Just like that. And then I'll grab my boho blue. All the measurements for this card are on my blog, sassypapercrafts.com. The link to this project specifically is in the description of this video. Add this to our card base, that Night of Navy card base. And don't forget, with the darker cardstock, you do want an inside. I can grab one. I got stamp blocks and things on top. You do want an inside. You could stamp this as well. I didn't for this card, but it would be cute with a couple of little snowflakes on it. Stick that down. And then for our little bow there, I took a little bit, well, here, the bow here, I took a little bit of the trim. I just cut a piece off. And I tied it in a knot. So this is what I call a faux knot. And you just tie it. And then I like to take a glue dot to stick it down. And stick it right on your ribbon. And then I trim up those edges a little. And I like to go kind of at an angle. There. And then for our last embellishments, I'm using some of the opal rounds. They have Clear, Daffodil Delight, and Night of Navy. I used clear on this one, just it reminded me of, so I think I'm going to go in with the Night of Navy ones though for this card to make it a little bit different and kind of use up the ones I have. Put one right there in that blended background. And that is our card. It's a beautiful handmade winter card that you can give to anybody. I love it. So if you need a last minute card, this one is perfect. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you give this a try, be sure to share your work on social media and tag me at Sassy Paper Crafts on all social media platforms so I can see what you made. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more card making ideas. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.